Folks, you're not going to want to miss this one. This is my last 2 weekends in the bush with my 91 Ford Ranger. Right here you're looking at the new improved under the hood air intake waterproof air box. So, you can do stuff like this. It's a lot of fun. I blew a tire that weekend, and rather than mess around, I went and bought a brand new set of 31 by 10.5 767 rock blades. A little sneak peek at the Dana 35 there. So this truck is an XLT model, so it comes factory with a 2-inch lift, so it just clears these 31s. Like, they kiss a little bit, but not really. Depends on who you ask. Honestly, it's more of like a French peck. Like, it's there, but it's nothing really to worry about. We found some hoodlums in a swamp here. Look at these clowns having fun. Figured we were best to watch from the sidelines on this one. Keep the Ranger out of there. Well, at least until we got a winch for it. Box, you still there? Looks like it. I got a couple different angles of this one because the camera don't really do it justice, but when you're bouncing your head off the windshield going down a washout, it's pretty steep. Whoa. Ford Ranger shit.
I can't wait to see him go into that hole down there. That's usually a good one. That one down there. That's usually a good one.
This spot had me puckered up pretty good there. She's pretty tight. Thank God for them new tires because it was all tree roots, and if this thing decided to slide, well, probably would have needed a couple box sides. A little technical, Yeah. Nice little dinner date there with the missus. Yeah, can't beat that. We're going to go cast a line here, but the water's a little high, and I personally didn't want to get my slippers wet, so, luxuries of driving a Ford Ranger, right? got going down a road there, and she just kept getting narrower and narrower and smaller, and next thing you know, you pull the mirrors in. You know, it's a dead end anyways. There's like 30 minutes till dark. Didn't feel like getting pickled up in there. Playing her safe. Call me a grandpa, whatever you want. We're turning around. Quick 75-point turn, and we're out of there. Super happy with the tires, by the way. They work really well. 31s were really good for the gear ratio. My low range is still nice and slow. And third gear, 4 low is your bush gear, man. You can crawl through anything, and you can still go fast enough to cover some ground without spinning the transfer case too fast. That's third gear there.
That's a clip and a half.
Oh, right, yeah. There's an old road down there. We're just out exploring old roads here. You can stick to the main road, but what is this, a Honda Ridgeline? I probably could have jammed it in low range here, but the Ranger's just bebopping through there. No big deal. Okay, check this out. The only thing to make it up this is four-wheelers or my half-ton with mud tires and diff lock. This thing just walks up at first gear 4 low. Doesn't spin a tire. No big deal. Just Ford Ranger things. Don't worry about it.
Are you coming back?
That's like a 40-foot bank, at least 45 degrees. She's steep. You know, I don't know why I act so surprised. I think I'm just impressed generally. I gotta say, I get it. I understand now the whole Ford Ranger hype thing. It's not BS. It's true. These things are pretty much unstoppable. They do go anywhere. It's a little tank.
On for another day.
Last weekend, I accidentally hydrolocked the motor in this thing, driving like a Donnie through a water hole. Also, don't mind the cardboard box. It's our lunch.
No, your starter's shorting out somewhere.
No, we just hydrolocked the motor.
Is your intake wide open?
Oh, and I also forgot my 5/8 plug socket on my workbench at home. So we're in a good spot. We got an hour and a half before dark, no cell service, and we're about 12 clicks in the middle of the bush. I walked to a spot where I knew there was cell service, called one of my close friends. Luckily, they were on their way with a plug socket. They were about an hour and a half out. So as I'm walking back to the truck, I'm thinking to myself, this motor's got 371,000 kilometers on it. The water's got to seep past the rings at some point. There's no way she's that fresh. So anyways, me and my buddy Kyle lit a fire, got to work, pulling this thing out of the water hole with a chain and a come along. And once we got it out, I grabbed my 3-foot Johnson bar, and I had a 22 mil socket in my toolkit. I put that on the alternator nut and just gently started rolling this thing back and forth. Super easy. Didn't want to bend anything or break nothing, right? Forgot to mention that when I pulled the intake tube off, the air box and the intake manifold were full of water. So after about 20 minutes of rocking this thing over back and forth, nice and slow, I finally get it to make a full revolution. Now, everything in mechanical history says this should never work because those spark plugs would be full of water, they would be fouled out, no spark. For some reason, I cycled the key 4 times, touched the key, this thing rolled over, dialed to life, and drove me out of the bush. How? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It shouldn't have worked. It's a Ford Ranger. That's all I can say. I don't get it. They gained my respect, that's for sure. And about 5 minutes after I got this thing running that day, my buddy comes around the corner with his girlfriend. They just drove about 20 kilometers to get to me after he got off work to get me a 5/8 plug socket, and this thing's sitting there idling on the side of the trail. I didn't know what to tell him. I felt really bad because I just did the impossible. I was excited, but sad and felt bad, but happy. It was a weird emotion. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching. That's the update on the 91 Ford Ranger XLT.